Hi guys, welcome to Photoshop with Sarith. This is the first of many tutorials I will be giving. Okay, today we're gonna make a landscape look sexy. So I know you all have landscape photos, so let's open one up. This is a landscape photo I did, and I shot it last summer while I was out camping, and if you look at it, it looks pretty flat and pretty boring. First things first, I want to show you about the F key. Just, the F key. Push F a bunch of times, and you'll notice that it changes the actual window mode. And this is super important because I find it really annoying. You see, you can move it by using the hand tool or just by holding down the space bar. I'm holding down the space bar and I can't move it because it's in this window. And if you push F and you hold on the space bar or you use the hand tool, you can move it. And why it's so important is because when you zoom in, you want to use the whole screen, guys. You just want to use the whole screen. It just makes life a lot easier. Okay, up here is a tools palette. That's where all your tools are located. And if it doesn't look like this, it's gonna look like this. It's that easy. Just push the little gray area up here. Okay. Now I'm looking at my picture and I have lots of little specks and dust spots because my camera is just old, and even if you're scanning negatives, back in the old day you had to spot tone, and nowadays you have magical tools that will work. In your tools palette, there's these tools with these little dots in the corner, these little arrows, and what that means is that there's subtools. Some of them don't have subtools, like the crop tool doesn't have a subtool, but the patch tool does, and they all relatively do the same thing. That's why they're clumped together. So we're going to use this tool to get rid of little dots and stuff. So what we do is we select our dot just by holding down and selecting, and we're going to move it over to an area that doesn't have the dot, and it copies it over there. Isn't that amazing? I think it's amazing. And look, I'm going to do the same thing here. And if you don't understand what it's doing, is that it's taking the area that you're sampling from, and it's moving it over to another area, and it's going to try to blend in the edges so that you don't notice it. See? No, I don't want that, so I'm going to go back a few steps. Again, there's other tools that mimic it. This is the spot healing to brush tool, which is a lot handier when it comes to smaller areas, like smaller dots and things. You can just go, and it does the same thing. It blends the area on the edges, and it takes out whatever's in the middle, and it blends it all in. So, you can go, and if you have dots, you don't have dots, you can skip this step. I know it's a waste of time. I just wanted to show you this tool. See this little dot here? Annoying. Zoom in out super tight. That's really zoomed in, but whatever. And I'm in the spot, and it's really big. So there's the bracket keys, the one with the little pointy arrows, like not the smiley brackets, but the ones beside the slash button. Those control how big your brush is. So you can make them bigger or smaller. Or you can just go over here and you can just change the diameter. But the shortcut is just the brackets beside the one with the square bracket underneath. Okay, so I'm just gonna zoom out because I think I'm done spot toning. And now I look at the image and I say, hey, it's a landscape, and most landscapes, they should be horizontal just because they're landscapes. So there's the crop tool, but I'm going to use the Marquee tool. The Marquee tool allows you to make selections, whether they're circle, rectangular, just a single pixel, or whatever it is you want. So, I'm going to go to the Marquee tool up here, and look, I'm just going to select this. I don't know why that's not going away. Let me just, something's fishy here. Hold on, guys. Just bear with me for a minute. Bear with me for a minute here. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to go and select this. I think my computer had a glitch. So I select that, and I want to crop that area. So I just go to Image, Crop. And now that's the crop I want. Now is where it gets intense. Okay, I want to tweak this. I want to make it look sexier and more alive. So I have a background here. This is the background I'm using. And you see how it's locked, this little lock arrow, lock icon? Double click it and just hit OK, and it will unlock it. So that's, without the picture, that's with the picture, obviously. And what you're going to do is you're going to make a copy of a layer. So you're going to go File, or not File, right click on the layer, and you go Duplicate Layer. And you go Layer 0 Copy, where you can name it whatever you want up here. So, layer 1. Okay? Or, that's kind of a pain in the ass, so you just have to like just select it and just push the Control J button and it will copy it automatically for you. Much easier, and put it on a new layer. Now there's also something called adjustment layers, and these adjustment layers are new to CS3, I believe. They weren't in CS, the original, and they still have them in CS4 and CS5, and they probably have cooler things in them. But for now, we're gonna tweak, we're gonna play around with the curves and the levels, and what they do is they kind of do the same thing, the levels and the curves. They adjust your exposure, and you know, you can make them brighter or darker or whatever it is you want to do. So I want to make it a little bit more dramatic, so I'm making it darker. That's what I'm doing here. So that's acceptable. Okay, now in CS3, I'm not sure in higher up versions, but this is how I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to turn this layer off. These little eyeballs turn the layers off. So I'm turning that layer off. That's just that adjustment layer. It's actually, there's nothing there. It's just an adjustment layer. So there's my layer. I'm seeing it. I can have this one on too, but I mean, it doesn't matter because I'm working on this layer. On the middle layer, that is. The layer 0 copy. I'll call that, oopsies. If you double click, you bring on the layer style, so don't double click as fast. Double click, just single click, or just if you click on the actual wording, it will allow you to type it in. So we'll call this one poo, just because I have nothing else to call it. So here we're going to go to Image, Adjust, select the layer first of all. Image, Adjust, and we're going to go to Shadow Highlight, because Shadow Highlight, this allows you to bring out the dark, so there's more shadow detail, as well as put shadow into the light areas if you have an overexposed area that you want a little bit more light into. Your shadow highlight menu might not look like this because this is the advanced section. Here, this is probably what it will look like. It's this, and what you can do is you can fiddle with it. And you know, like preview, if you have preview off, obviously you're not going to see anything. So turn preview on always. So this is going to, you know, bring out. You see the detail in the trees here that's really dark? It brings it out. So I'm going to push it up so it's pretty high. And the cloud, I want more detail in the highlight area, like the sky. So I'm going to push some more, I'm going to burn that in a little bit. I'm going to make it a little bit darker. And of course, you can show more options if you want to get, you know, more intense, and you can fiddle with it, just play around with whatever you're happy with. And for something like this, you actually want to look at it pretty far away, because you don't want to look at it too close, because then it gives you a headache and it won't look real when you're done. So you can play with this a little bit and do whatever it is you want to do, whatever you're happy with. It's okay when you're done. Okay, so this is it before and this is it after. Now you might be thinking, oh my gosh, it's so flat. Well, it is flat, but don't worry about it. That's why we have this adjustment level on. Now once I bring this back, it will make it look darker. See, you'll have your blacks will still have their detail there. Huge, huge difference. And that is that. Now, you know, you can call it quits now if you wanted to, because it is much better than when you opened it. I'm just turning off the layers to see what I can look at here, and I noticed that it's still, you know, it can still use some work. I'm gonna go Image, Adjust, and I'm gonna go back and put some more details in the black. Maybe not that much detail, like that, and that looks good to me. So I'm gonna leave it as that. Before, after, isn't that huge? Like, it looks that much sexier. Now, a little trick I found as well, and someone showed me this a while ago, is you can actually make it, you can punch up the areas you want to show more. So I like this area back here, and I like the mountains in the background. So I'm going to bring those out. There's a few ways that you can do this. Okay, here's one way of doing it. I'm going to flatten this image, so I'm going to take this top image and I'm going to flatten it. So I'm going to merge visible. So now it's all one layer, and I'm just going to copy it. So Control J again, I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to put this on multiply. And that just makes it darker. I know it looks fucked up, but just don't worry about it. And I'm going to just make it black and white. So there's a lot of ways of making it black and white. I'm just going to desaturate it. So Image, Adjust, Desaturate, and that's what it does. Okay, now you're going to go to your elliptical Marquee Tool and select the areas that you want light. And Shift allows you to add to that selection. See? Alt, if you hold Alt down, it takes away from the selection. So, or if you're really lazy like me, I just draw it. So I literally go and I just and any area that I want, I hold Shift and I can add other areas that I want, like this, and maybe this, and maybe this tree over here. And now what you want to do is you want to feather those selections. So right click once you have it selected and go to Feather. Or you can go to Select, Modify, and Feather. But it's 10 times easier just to, whoopsies, select, reselect. It's 10 times easier just to go right click and feather. And because it's a big image, you want to feather more pixels. The smaller your selection, the less pixels you want to feather. The bigger your picture, the more selection, the more pixels. So I'm going to feather this maybe, I don't know, I'm just guessing 150 here. And, what? Oh, okay, whatever. And now you're just going to go and you push Backspace. All that was telling me was that I selected it and I feathered it more than the actual amount that I was selecting. But it's okay. You just select it and you push it Backspace. So I'll do it again for you, because you might not understand. Okay, so I selected it, but I feathered it so much that it went into the actual selection. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to Backspace anyway, and it's still going to, you see how it cropped it out? Oopsies. I'm going to feather it again. Jeez Louise yogurt. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, so you have to be in the right tool. This is the tool right here. You right click, feather, and 150, fine, we'll do 100 if that's what you want, computer. Go 100, and we'll go OK. Now look, it's feathered. You see how it's all softer and smoother, those lines? It's still there, just Backspace. And you see how it's lighter? That's all you do. And now you're going to drop this opacity down to maybe a 30 or a 40, whatever you want. If it's too much for you, like if that's too much, then just drop it down a little bit. And you'll notice it's subtle, but it makes a difference. So, look. See? And if it's not that much of a difference, you want to make it even more dramatic, just pump it up. Just bring up the opacity. This is the opacity over here. That's acceptable. And another one I like doing, I like literally doing the same thing. So I'll just copy this layer again, Control J. And I'll move it on top of everything, because I want this to be, this is the layer you see on top, and I'm going to put it on multiply, and then I'll just take my square tool and I'll just cut right into the image itself, just so I can give it this fake vignette. There's other ways of giving a vignette, but this is the easiest way I can do it. You know, I'll show you in my other tutorials how to make other types of vignettes. And there, I mean, you know, I want the corners darker because it brings out the picture inside more. There. And you know what? If you feel it's still too dark, check it out. You can add another adjustment level, just the curves. So it does the same thing as the levels, but here you can control the amount. You know, you can pick up as many dots as you want. You can make more dots by selecting it. And you can, the inside or the middle ground, you can pump it up, take it down, whatever. And if you have too many dots, just move them on top of each other, and they magically disappear. So we're going to just find a medium that I'm happy with, and that's okay. And that is that. So, you know, from before and after, it's pretty cool. And you know, I just flatten all my images because I mean, I don't like using space. So I'll take a snapshot here and I'll show you again. Snapshot 3, they're up here in layers. This is your step. Okay, I'll get rid of the snapshot because I don't need it anymore. Jeez Louise. Okay, delete that snapshot. Okay, so this is it after it was all done. This is it when it began. So, you know, huge difference, you guys. Huge difference if you want. Like, look at that. And you can even see it in the trees and in the details. Like, huge difference. The color and everything comes out more. Anyway, that was pretty lengthy, so I hope you enjoyed it. Take care, and if you have any questions, just write comments below.